Okay. Hi, my name is Lizzie. We're gonna start off with your name and your age.
My name is Eva Delgado, and I am 22 years old.
Okay, and then the issue we'll be talking about today is suicide.
Yes.
How have you experienced suicide?
I've experienced suicide in many different ways. Growing up, I would say like I've struggled a lot mentally and have had maybe suicide ideation starting from the age of as young as 7. Um, Even before I even knew like what suicide even was, I was locking myself in the bathroom, praying to God to take my life just because of the severity of my parents' toxic relationship. And then it kind of increased to cutting myself. Then I got to a point of being hospitalized at 12 years old, willingly being hospitalized, going to my mom, asking, please, like, I need help. I also have experienced suicide on the flip side where, like, it runs in my family. So, like, my great grandmother, my grandma's mom, committed suicide when my grandma was, like, in her 20s, um, due to her husband cheating on her and leaving her to take care of the family that he made with another woman. And he came to the United States and she couldn't take it and she overdosed. I also have experienced suicide not so close to me where my aunt, her father, just recently, actually about a year and a half ago, committed suicide. He hung himself. I also have another person who had a grandfather who's really close to me who also hung himself. So I've experienced suicide in a number of ways. Um, Kind of more into like my older adolescence and adulthood. I kind of went through this back and forth of like not being suicidal, being depressed, not being depressed. Then I got hospitalized again, unwillingly. Um, and that's kind of when things changed for me because I really wasn't expecting to ever be in a hospital again for that reason. And so not too long after I moved to Carbondale with my dad, I got baptized. And since 2022, ever since I gave my life to Christ, that's been about the longest period that I've went without feeling like I want to take my life.
What kind of professional or public services do you need?
So I definitely do need counseling. I don't take advantage of the resources that I have available here on campus. I think it's more so just because I'm so caught up with just like mundane tasks, everyday life, that taking the time to just go and make the appointment, or they have the online option as well, but that doesn't work for me. I don't know. It just feels like I've done it before, but it doesn't feel personal, and it just seems like all they care about is if like you are like with a knife to your throat, like, like sometimes I feel like when you go to a person and it's like you explain to them you're going through something, it's like the first questions you're going to be asked is like, are you thinking about taking your life? And it's like, as somebody who struggled with that, like I personally don't really want to be asked that. I kind of just want to like have somebody listen to me. So I think it's just the little things that like I don't know, like I do want to, but maybe just not right now. I have in the past, like I've gone to counseling, like after the first time I was hospitalized. So anytime you're hospitalized, the state of Illinois demands that you receive counseling, right? They get a note, right? And like they basically like require that like they have to check up on you, they have to make sure everything's good, like they have to do their part, right? So I think I went to like one counseling session after my first hospitalization, and it just I don't know. It wasn't personal. Like, I remember my mom was in the room with me, so like I couldn't even be honest if I wanted to. And then kind of into like high school, I was really struggling with my mom. And we went to counseling together for about a month. It was great actually, but then our insurance wasn't able to cover it no more because it was just so expensive. Every therapy session is at least $100 to $200. Therapists are getting paid $100 an hour, realistically speaking, right? If they own their own practice. So you can't afford it, really, unless you have the money or you have insurance. I mean, somebody like me who comes from a low income household, I can't afford it. So, but it has worked. And after the second time I was hospitalized, I tried to do counseling. Like, I tried to like set up, tried to find a place, and like I said, it's just like the task of actually getting it done and getting in the office, it seems like it's just so much for me. I kind of give up halfway, and I end up handling things on my own.
What impacts or changes has there been in your physical and your mental health?
Well, for physical, I would say the main changes for me would be after my second hospitalization. According to the doctors there, I was undergoing muscle spasms in my back that like caused me to like lose complete control of my body. To me, it felt, and still to this day, and in the moment and still to this day, it feels like I had a stroke. Mm-hmm. My back hasn't been the same since. I can't tell you what. They told me it's from lack of nutrients in the food. It's happened to other people. I really don't know. That was probably the scariest moment ever in my life. Like feeling like complete lack of control in my back, like just uncontrollable body movements, like feeling like I was panicking so much, like feeling like I couldn't even breathe, like losing control of like the muscles in my tongue. So that was probably like the extreme for physical. Mental, numerous impacts. Maybe not in this way that most people would think. I would honestly say today that my testimony makes me stronger and it empowers me, and it gives me something to at least look back on and see what I don't want to be, and see that like it really does get better, and it life can be so much worse than it has. And even at my low, it's like I'm blessed, right? But yeah, I think the mental impacts have been significant, but I would say mainly it just kind of really lets me know like what I want to strive for in the future and now.
How has this impacted your family?
This impacted my family in a lot of ways, probably more ways than I'm aware of. I know like my mom has expressed to me like she feels like she failed me as a mom, knowing that, you know, I've gone so many years of feeling like I don't want to be here, and her not understanding like what is it. And it's not my mom's fault, it's not my dad's fault, it's nobody's in my family's fault at all. Like as a kid, I think the pressures of the world are so intense. You're gonna say, well, God, kill me because my parents are going through so much, or you're going, you know, it's like you're gonna harm yourself because you feel like that's the only way you can feel something, whatever. But it may not exactly mean that that's what the reason is. I think I was craving for something that even a healthy family couldn't give me. I was craving something that only really Jesus could give me. And as cliche as that may sound, it's just really true. Like I have a fulfillment within me that if I didn't give my life to Christ, I wouldn't have. So I've impacted my family in many ways. I know my dad has also struggled, you know, mentally his whole life as well. And, you know, so he's probably felt like guilt, thinking like, well, I passed this down to my daughter, or maybe I'm the cause. And I'm sure that they've cried a lot of tears that I don't know, you know, just wondering like, what can they do to give their daughter a better life. But I don't think it really has anything to do with that. It was just more so a personal spiritual warfare that I was going through.
And what do you think people should know about this topic itself?
I think people should know that more people have suicidal ideations than you think. Especially maybe the person that you would not think, maybe not so much think. It's a very serious matter, and I think to more awareness, like just talking about it, even if it may feel uncomfortable, you don't necessarily have to say, hey, are you feeling suicidal? No. But how are you? Are you okay? Hey, want to eat lunch together? Like, just be there, check up on people. Like, you really truly never know what anybody is going through.
And the last question would be, do you have any recommendations for my class itself about the topic for suicide?
If you're struggling, I know for me it was hard. My mom didn't find out actually through, well, my family, because it was actually my aunt who found out first about everything because of a camp counselor. She saw cuts on my legs one time in summer camp. So my parents didn't find out about like me having suicide ideations, me cutting myself, any of that, nothing. They had no idea what I was going through until the age of 11. So from 7 years old to 11 years old, I was silently suffering by myself for years. I recommend don't silently suffer, even if it means you call a friend or anything. You may not necessarily have the courage in you to, hey mom, I'm struggling, hey dad, or I need counseling. But reach out to somebody, put yourself out there more, maybe join a club, do something to kind of keep you proactive. And those that aren't struggling and don't have those, I would say, yeah, that don't have that issue, be there. Be there for those around you, not just your friends. Be there for everybody and pay attention, because you can tell the person that doesn't have friends, the person that's quiet, or the complete opposite, the person that's the loudest in the room, the person that has the biggest smile, that's a light to everybody. Those are probably the people that really need to be checked up on the most. So that would be my main advice.
Thank you.